guys, to celebrate your 10th anniversary tour, you went over to the Sydney Opera House to play there. That's just a mind-blowing sort of thing to consider. How was that, and sort of how did it feel to go out and pull out some of the old tracks as well?
Yeah, it was like, firstly, playing the Sydney Opera House. I don't think any of us ever thought that we'd get the opportunity to do that. And it's one of those places, like wherever we've played in the world, our families were all like, that was the one that they were all talking about, so, you know, and just being like, oh,
we've been kind of like trying to play that venue for about 10 years, basically. We've been kind of like, yeah, just get us a show at the Sydney Opera House, and it was never been a good opportunity to do that. This was like, you know, it all made sense, and yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's not like, when you look at the Opera House from the outside, it looks like a much bigger and more like iconic kind of like venue than when you come inside. It kind of looks like a normal theatre in many ways, till the point that you look up. That's when you realise where you are. So it's kind of like, but yeah, it's just like, you know that you are there, and it's just...
Yeah, and being like backstage, and there's like a grand piano in the backstage, and you're looking out over the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and it's just, yeah, it's very surreal to think, like, coming from Liverpool and then all of a sudden you're there. It's like, is this really happening? And like playing a load of the old songs was actually really fun. Some of the songs we hadn't played for like 8 years or so since we finished touring the first album, and it was surprising how quickly they came back. Like when we started practicing, it was like within a couple of goes through, we were like, oh right, okay,
you know your stuff.
Yeah, it's back. It's in the bones somewhere.
Yeah. What other venues do you think you could go to? You've played Sydney Opera House. What's sort of that bucket list that you've got as such that you go, yeah, I want to play there? You said you want to play at Sydney Opera House. Where else is there that you go, yeah, I'll play there?
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty.
The Hollywood Bowl.
Hollywood Bowl's been...
Yeah, I haven't played any of those two yet.
Yeah, there's lots. I think for us it's more like we'd love to go and play more in South America, and you know, maybe Africa, and like more in Southeast Asia. There's like some places that we haven't really been to, like rather than venues, it's more like probably rather visit,
I think so. Countries. Just to see different parts of the world. Really, it's a good excuse, you know, like do a tour somewhere, just to be able to see the countries and meet new people. Experience different cultures, different foods.
That's one of the best things with like being on tour. You know, you wake up in the morning and you go, oh, where are we today? And off you go and have a little walk around the local area or whatever. And yeah, it's good.
No 2 days are obviously the same. You touched on there about Asia. Initially, your first album was just released in Japan, I'm right in saying?
Yeah.
What was sort of like the mindset behind that? Because I've always wondered this, like listening through all your albums and stuff, and that one album sticks out to me because obviously there's certain tracks on it that went on to the official album 2007 that went out. Why did you decide to go out to Japan with that?
Well, it wasn't. Well, obviously it was our decision, but we got an email on MySpace. I don't know if you remember MySpace, and they just said, "Oh, we really like your music. We'd like to release an album in Japan." We hadn't signed anything. We didn't even have a publishing deal.
We had
nothing.
Just finished our university degrees.
Yeah,
well, you didn't even finish yours, but like that was kind of like, you know, we were just, you know, got this offer to release an album in Japan, and why wouldn't you?
But also,
like, we had nothing else going for us really. So
and I think like they literally were like, oh, here's $1,000 or something, which obviously barely pays for like the artwork of an album, let alone like recording it. And we recorded most of it, well, some of it in Lipa and some of it in our manager had this studio like in Liverpool, in this tiny little room that was honestly like, if you drew a line there, it was a tiny box room.
The live room was smaller than this.
My elbows would if I put my arms up when I was playing the drums, they'd touch these padded walls, and Todd would be stood outside with the bass looking in through the window or something almost, were you?
I think that the bass amp was just facing the wall, maybe. But I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, we recorded it like live.
Yeah, so we
have to like imagine the songs without the guitar and vocals and just kind of like
play along. But it was a really good experience, and you know, like we'd only ever made EPs up to there, so to actually make an album, and obviously the excitement of all of a sudden going like, wow, we're going to put an album out in Japan, it definitely gives you like a sort of a sense of purpose behind what you're doing, and I mean, but it's funny because we didn't, like, very quickly after that the ball started rolling in the UK more, and then we didn't even tour in Japan, did we? On that album, we didn't do any.
We didn't go to Japan until, we had like just before our official album came out. We did like an EP, didn't we? Like that pop EP or whatever.
Yeah.
In Japan as well. And that's when we played Fuji Rocks, and that's when we like completely fell in love with the place as well. Like it was unbelievable experience.
Yeah.
We haven't really been back much recently, so
hopefully on this 5 years or so.
It's a beautiful place anyway, I must say. I was reading the other day in an interview with the National Student, you said about touring in your grand's car.
Yeah.
It's a long way from the tour bus you've now got.
Yeah.
Do you miss that aspect of it where you're just going to the tiny little pub, because I know you're very supportive of smaller venues as well. Nottingham's a great place for those. Do you miss those days as well, as much as you love and live for the days like big venues like Rock City?
Well, actually on stage in Newcastle last night, I remembered that when we first played the O2 Academy in Newcastle, we drove from London up there in my granny's old car, which we used to do all the gigs in, and pulled up next to 2 big tour buses like that Baby Shambles and Holloway's had, and the security guards were like, "Oh no, guys, you're obviously in the wrong place." Funnily enough, when we played Manchester Apollo on our last album, me and Todd drove to the venue in the same car because it was on its last legs. I was like, I think this might be its last voyage, and it was. It broke down like a couple of months later. My brother used to use it a bit, and it's gone now, unfortunately. But we did a bunch of little shows, didn't we, in February, in small venues, and like we all absolutely loved it, because I think we spent so many years doing those small venues. That it's like it's in our bones as well,
and we do miss that.
It's so fun.
We do miss that because obviously like it's nostalgia, isn't it? You always kind of like the kind of like
memories
of like experiencing touring for the first time, and kind of like I don't know, it's something like kind of like out of control and a bit like more pure about like doing smaller shows when you're like so much closer to the crowd.
Well, also
and it kind of feels like you kind of it's a joint effort to like create.
But also, I think like the crowd are so obviously it's so intense and packed in and small, and people who go to those venues are definitely like music lovers who your mainstream music lovers wouldn't necessarily even know about those venues. I don't know, but. And the fact there's no real lights, there's no production, there's nothing and the stage is tiny. Most of the time, like some of the gigs we played in Blackpool, and like if Todd like moved that way, he'd knock into a cymbal. Same with Murph, he couldn't like turn, and it's things like that where there's always something a bit like
keeps you on your toes.
Not uncomfortable, but like there's something where you have to like change up what you're doing, and like my drum seat was actually like, because there was no space, it was on an angle like that, because the wall, it was heading towards the wall, things like that where you just like, what the hell, but then the crowd just
pull through
going for it, and it's like you finish it, and as you say, you've been on the edge of your seat the whole time. It's really exciting.
Moving on now to Beautiful People Ruin Your Life, which I must say, amazing album. The production on it, everything about it, every element, I think has been really well done. You've done this while all living in separate parts of the world almost at times, and then converging together to make the tracks. Does that make it easier in a way or harder, because you're living in different places, so you're seeing different stuff on a daily basis? Does that sort of create better tracks, so to speak, because you've got a better creative span of place you've been, or does it inspire it a bit more?
I don't know, really. I think like
the thing is that like it was the same on Glitterbug,
the third
partly on this this Modern Glitch as well. So we kind of been used to the kind of like long distance in a way for like many years, and for like 3 albums pretty much. So
and often it's kind of it can be good that you just get to spend time, whether it's like digesting a song or starting an idea to then send to someone else with fresh ears. I think that perspective can be quite good, because we self-produce a lot of stuff as well, so to actually you hear something that someone else has already started or whatever, then you go, okay, cool, and then you filter it through your brain. And I think for quite a few of the songs it worked really well for that, and some of them we did quite a few writing sessions over in Norway, where Tord lives, and started songs literally from scratch. So I think you have to be in the same room, at some point to like.
Well, you obviously to finalize an album, and obviously like get actually recording. Yeah. The recording of the album was obviously done in London for over 5 weeks.
And to fine tune all the parts and all the moments where it's like, oh, maybe this bit here, like, you know, naturally it feels like we all want to like push something, or we all want to like, maybe we need to change here or whatever. Like, until you're actually all playing together, some of those decisions are quite hard to imagine or think about. But when you sat on your instrument all there, it's like, oh no, it's obvious what we need to do. But yeah, it worked all right, and I guess like moving forward, it's something we're gonna have to keep doing anyway, because that's like
It's the nature
that's how
of
life
the
is
Wombats,
nowadays.
really.
Would you say you miss each other when you're not with each other, or is it a welcome break?
I mean, we see each other so much when we're on tour, and when we're recording and stuff. It's kind of, I think it's probably healthy to have that space. Although, to be honest, when we lived in Liverpool all the time, we'd still meet up and go for meals and like go in the studio most days and stuff. So it's not.
See, we spent so like many like big chunks of the year together. So when we go home, it's kind of like it's okay that we don't see each other for a few weeks. It's,
I mean, to be honest, I think as people as well. I mean, I very rarely miss anyone on it, because it's like, well, there's no, what good does that feeling do to constantly be like pining for somebody? Sorry to say that.
Until you have a child, that's when you
of course, like no, I mean, of course you miss like family when you're on tour and friends and all the rest of it, but there's no point feeling miserable all the time, apart from obviously with a kid, like that's very different, and obviously you miss girlfriends and things as well, but I don't know, I think we're quite
you had to put that one in there.
but I mean, I think we're quite like pragmatic, matter of fact people. I'm sure there are people in bands who are just they hate touring. There are loads of bands who really hate it, but we always manage to like get on with it and just.
When you are on the road, you might as well make the most of it and enjoy it.
Live the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Beautiful people ruin your life. As the title goes, you raise your eyebrow and you go, beautiful people will ruin your life. How would you sort of describe that as a title? Because I read how it came about in the WhatsApp chat. As a title, it captivates me, and I can relate it to situations. I'm sure many people can, but then equally, I'm like, what does that actually mean?
I think that's that's exactly it. There's quite a few ways to interpret it depending on the people that you've had in your life, but I guess in general, just when the people that you end up finding the most beautiful or admire the most and are closest to you, their words mean more than someone else's that you don't know. Like
it's more hurtful, maybe.
More hurtful, or you're not likely to get your heart broken by a stranger in the street. You're going to get your heart broken by a girl or a guy or whatever that you fell madly in love with at some point. But it could be,
Well, I've actually used it in my Tinder bio at the moment. That is in my Tinder bio at the moment. Beautiful people ruin your life. There's a line there that says, if you get this reference, A star for you. So I'm hopeful that someone one day will message me like, that's the Wombats album's name, and then hopefully.
We have met a few people who've been to like gigs who've ended up getting together with, a person, and they're still together now. We've got a couple actually who've been to like 5 gigs on this tour who met in Glasgow last summer. And we met them outside the venue, and they're like holding hands. We were like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And they were like, "Yeah, since that Glasgow show, we've been together. We're like madly in love and all this." And they stand on the front row at the shows, and they're literally just like singing the words into each other's eyes, and like it's so romantic and sweet. I have to like not look at them sometimes because you get like a little tear. You're like, "Oh, that's so sweet."
So, as well as making good music, you're making love stories as well as you go along. One sort of other thing that's got to me is you're always on tour, and it's something I've asked a few bands previously, is who makes the best cuppa when you're on the tour?
Best cup of tea,
It's not me.
Yeah, because the Norwegians, they don't put milk in their tea.
Drink to black tea.
Yeah.
Which is nice, to be fair.
I mean, to be honest, like we drink more coffee. To be completely fair, that's like coffee. Like we were one of the countries in the world that drinks the most coffee per capita, I think. So, but yeah, no milk in the coffee, no milk in the tea.
No.
Just no sugar, no nothing. Just.
I am more of a coffee person, to be honest, as well. But obviously, if I made my own cup of tea, it would be the best for me. I think everyone's got their own preference, haven't they, exactly how to make it, and it's quite rare that someone would nail a tea in the same way that you know how to do your own tea. But yeah, no, we're definitely more of a coffee band.
I think you need it though for the energy when you're on the road as well.
Yeah, and also the because I like a bit of milk in tea, but I don't want to drink milk in general or have any as little dairy as possible.
Lactose intolerant.
Not 100%, but it's not great for the old growlers. I'm not going to lie.
It comes with the age as well.
It comes with the age. Yeah. No, it's getting better with age. I think it's because I think I did the milk challenge. Me and Murph did the milk challenge. You know, that jackass thing when we were like 19 in uni in Lipper. And there was a jackass night, and we wanted to punch each other in the face, but they wouldn't let us for insurance reasons. So we ended up doing the milk challenge, which was like 8 pints of milk, and like 5 of us did it. And I got all mine down before throwing up, and I was sat there, and everyone else had vomited already, and everyone in the crowd started going like, "Fuck, that guy hasn't vomited yet," and I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad. This is awful." And then all of a sudden, I just went whoop, and like sprayed it all out, like literally on the feet of the people, like all the way over there. And since that day, like I've never been the same with my relationship with milk. Thanks for listening.
Guys, I think we've pretty much covered
At all bases there in terms of milk and puking.
on
So
that
thank you very much. I hope you have a good night at Rock City tonight, which I must say
We always
is
do.
one of the best venues I've ever been to. I might be a bit biased, but I've been to the venues, but this pretty much tops the lot.
No, it really is up there. Like I can't.
Yeah.
The vibe in here is always awesome. Never actually been here to see a gig though, so I couldn't comment from that side. But I know we always have a good time.
Well, best of luck tonight, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.